Oh, look what I found here on the edge of the field. Big old groundhog burrow. You can see the trail coming out of it there. And it comes up into an open path here. And into CRP. That's pretty clean looking. That's probably being used this year. You might even be in there denning up. These are good locations too for fox. A lot of times a fox will, you find an old groundhog hole like that and he'll excavate it out a little bit because the groundhog's done most of the work already. And they'll use that for a den. I'll be back later in the springtime to see if there's a groundhog around here. You can see it once you're up on the path. It's pretty tough to see it now. Like I said, you could just see the trail coming out of it where he's meandering in the woods here, or he's coming up out to eat the grass and the clover that will grow here in the summertime. All right, let's keep going. Well, just got busted by a deer. He's down in there. My hopes of getting a shot in there are zero. Just heard it running off. Of course, he can run through that effortlessly. It'd take me 3 hours to crawl through there. At least we seen one. I'm hunting the edge of the CRP. Whitetails are edge animals, so they like to be near the edge, but this is thick cover in here. Actually, this is the same area, just down there, right at that corner there. If I can hold my camera. Right here, in this saddle here, is the place I killed my first whitetail deer ever with a bow. Let's keep looking, see if we can find them. Okay, I just seen two more deer. They were down here. They just went up right up by the tree. I could see the two tails coming right up here. So they're on that ridge on the other side. It's hard, it's so thick in there. And that's why they're lying in there. They're lying in that heavy cover. There's a ridge here, and then there's an open field on the other side. They stopped moving, so they're up on that ridge somewhere. Now let's see if we can go over there. Yep, we're on the right trail. We were just out here a little while ago, and then they went back down into the thick stuff. Alright, let's keep searching. See, up on the hill there is where I just was. This is where those deer came down. Right through the run here, right across the path, right into that. There's somewhere on the opposite ridge in there. I haven't seen them come out. I checked the field on the other side to see if they don't went all the way through, but they're not stupid. They've been hunted hard here for, well, it's January 14th today. It's the last day of statewide muzzleloader for Flintlock. But I'm in 5C right now, so it's open till January 28th for Flintlock. But these deer have been hunted since September, so they are very wary. This area here gets hunted hard during the gun season, so even just to see a deer, I was pretty lucky. Now I've seen 3, but I'm not getting a shot in this. Even my big 350 grain muzzleloader ball hits one of these sticks, it's done. All right, let's keep looking. You know, you just have to wonder how a 200-pound animal can run through this like a ballerina and effortlessly weave its way through, not catching his antlers if it's a buck, and run through this like it's nothing. You gotta respect a whitetail deer. I'm gonna work my way up to the top of this ridge. It's gonna snow this afternoon. I don't have too much more time left to hunt. But I'm happy that I seen a few deer. That's a good sign. Usually what I like to do is when there's snow on the ground, I'll follow fresh tracks and actually track the deer like a spot and stalk. That's what I'm doing now, is spotting and stalk and moving slow and seeing if there's anything around. But so far the whitetail's ahead of the game. I'm gonna work my way up the ridge here and then come out on the opposite field on the other side and see if we can see anything else. Well, if I didn't know any better, I'd say that was coyote dropping there. It's much too big, I think, to be a fox. Got my hand right there. Maybe somebody can tell me, confirm that, but sure looks like coyote. If it is, that's the first coyote droppings I've ever found out here. Might be a good sign for me. One tip I will mention while I'm moving along here is if you're hunting with a flintlock, even with a percussion rifle, if you're using a percussion cap ignition, you want to change that cap if it's raining, if it's damp, if it's foggy, if it's snowing, anything, any type of those conditions. Like I said, the black powder is going to absorb the moisture. Even the primer cap will absorb the moisture. And then when the deer comes out and you get that shot opportunity, that rifle is not going to go off. I would ordinarily change my pan powder. All you have to do is leave it a half cock like this. Don't ever carry the rifle full cock. Pull the pan back, tip the powder out, pour new powder in, and keep it fresh. That way when the flint strikes a spark on it, it's going to go off for you. I had an incident in this field actually quite a few years ago now, where I was using an inline muzzleloader. It was for an early muzzleloader season hunt, and I waited on the edge of this field. You can see behind me here. I was sitting out all day pretty much. It was okay in the morning, and then in the afternoon it started to rain, and it really rained hard. And I tried my best to protect the lock of the gun. Now granted, this is using a shotgun primer for ignition, but it was a bolt action inline muzzleloader. And it stopped raining after about 3 hours of hard rain. And I thought, okay, this is when the deer are gonna move. And lo and behold, on the other side of the field here over my shoulder, a deer came out with a wood line at about 75 yards. And I was all ready to go. Came out 75 yards from me after the rain stopped. It started to graze in the clover on the edge of the field. And I put the gun up on the rest, got the deer in the scope, pulled the trigger, and click. And that was it. I popped the bolt open quick. I put another shotgun primer in it. A shotgun primer burns hot. I put another shotgun primer in it, pull the trigger, click. At that time the deer heard the click of the gun, looked up at me, looked at me for about 10 or 15 seconds and laughed at me and then left. When I got the gun home and opened the bolt, I took the breech plug out the back of the gun, the back powder, because I was using pellets. The back pellet was completely saturated with water and it wouldn't burn. I could have put a match to it and it wasn't going to burn. So just be mindful of that. Keep your powder dry, as the mountain man used to say. Sometimes you win, sometimes most of the time the deer wins. That's part of it. Well, we're looking for the owner of that today, but he is long gone. You can see, I don't know if I hold the camera steady, right there, there's another one. So he marked this area more than once. That's a pretty decent sized scrape. That tree is probably 4 inches around. It's a pretty decent sized buck to do that. Usually big bucks only scrape big trees. This is like a signpost rub to say, hey, this is my territory. You can see here it's in a little clear cut just off the edge of the CRP where the deer are traveling in and out. Actually, I can see here Look at this here. There's a scar on the tree from an old rub. So the deer have been coming in here rubbing for multiple years. You see that other scrape right there? Smaller scrape on this one. Didn't rub that one so much as the one on the outside. That looks like a fox dropping. Could be an owl pellet actually. Oh, sorry. Yep, it's an owl pellet. There's all the little bones in it. Sometimes you can find little skulls. Actually, right there is a tooth. See that? How cool is that? It's a little mouse tooth. I see some bird feathers. Most of the little rodent bones in it. And fur. Mouse fur and bones. That's what it is, an owl pellet. Owl pellets don't, or owls don't make droppings. They regurgitate anything they don't digest and then cough it up like a hairball, like a cat. That's what that is. Alright, let's be on our way. Okay, time to unload my gun. Just gonna shoot it into the dirt bank here. And it'll be safe to transport. If I've done my job right, it'll go off first time and we'll be good. Alright, just bring it to full cock. Set our set trigger. And you get a big puff of smoke. Like I said, that'll take any big game animal in North America. No problem. Now they're going to safely discharge. It's empty. It's not going to go off again. We're going to go home and clean it. And we'll see you back there. Okay, before I take the gun home, I'm going to field clean it. So I'm not going to be able to clean it immediately once I get home. So, like I said, the gun is fully discharged. The pan is open. You can see the powder fouling on it. Now, the reason I said earlier on about only putting like a quarter of a pan of powder in there is that you want that action to be fast. If you overfill this pan with powder, you get a very slow, and then boom, it goes off.